calling time on today's games now on BBC One. Here's Gabby Logan with the final score.
Relegation. He was one of the heroes of the afternoon. Applause from the away supporters. The latest score is Wimbledon through to the pressure. John Terry's tears we all know. It was 2 crucial weeks.
A warm welcome to Final Score on a busy, interesting, intriguing Saturday afternoon. We've 6 Premier League games currently taking place, plus a host of action in the Football League and the SPL. Garth and Steve are here to guide us through what's about to happen, what's happened already. Not that they can both see into the future, although Garth has been making a good stab at it this afternoon, haven't you, Garth?
Yeah, I got
predicting
a couple right.
a few goals you have. And they've had a spectacular fallout you've missed as well if you've not been with us on the HD channel. More's the pity for you. Let's go straight to the Hawthorns, though. It's been a busy afternoon, an interesting afternoon, not without it's drama, Ivan Gaskell, and a home lead at the moment.
Yes, what are we? Just over 15, maybe 18 minutes away from the end here, and it's West Brom who lead it. Down to 10 men, Manchester City, and now a goal down to City. A man down when James Milner marched midway through the first half as he deprived Long a clear chance on goal. City actually, though, looked more likely scorers as they mounted a spirited response after that. But when Odom Wingy rose from the subs bench just minutes ago, his impact was immediate. His half shot was picked up by an unmarked Long who stole in and nicked it past Hart. West Brom on the verge of a 5th straight home win. 10-man City on the verge of their first defeat.
And their great rivals, meanwhile, had a little early shock against Stoke at Old Trafford. Damien Johnson, but appears to be cruising now.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've seen the best and the worst of Manchester United today. A terrific attacking force, but still concerns at the back. They trailed to a Wayne Rooney own goal, but came back strongly. Rooney equalised with a header, his first goal of the season. Van Persie poked in a second, and at the start of the second half, a flying header from Danny Welbeck made it 3-1 as United pressed, but it's offside. Then the bad side of their performance, Michael Kiteley ran at their defence. Not much of a challenge, and he poked the ball home for 3-2. Rooney poached a 4th. Michael Owen is on for Stoke against his former club. But I think United are safe now, 4-2.
Thanks, Damien. Let's go to Anfield. Richard Askham, a star of the future, making his mark today.
Yes, absolutely. Raheem Sterling with the only goal of the game so far for Liverpool. He was a constant threat in that first half with Glenn Johnson down the left. His goal actually came from a central position as Suarez has a chance, but rather skews it over the bar from Suarez. Sterling scoring after being put through by Suarez. A lovely flick that sent him clean through on goal, and he finished unerringly into the bottom corner. This half, though, Gabby, Reading have really started to throw bodies forward, and they've had chances with McCleary and McInnough. This is a very open game, and Reading starting to get a foothold in the match.
Let's go to Upton Park. It's looking like a big Sam Grand Slam, Mark Webber, and not a good day for Nigel Adkins' team.
Not indeed. West Ham United 3, Southampton 1. 3 moments of madness in the second half, you can call them, by Southampton, allowing them really to opt out of this game. 2 doses of poor defending in 2 minutes, allowing Mark Noble to score from a free kick and Kevin Nolan to tap in on the left post. But, you know, like a scene from a school playground, Jose Fonte's pulling of Andy Carroll's ponytail granted the Hammers a penalty, which Noble dispatched. Lallana's goal for Saints, well, it was well taken, but it's seemingly a footnote at the moment as West Ham line up for another free kick after Carroll was brought down. It could be 4-1. At the moment, it's 3-1.
Huge scoreline there. Partick 7-0 up against Airdrie United so far. Let's go to the Liberty Stadium. It took a while, but the goals have come, Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, it certainly did. Swansea lead Wigan by 2-1, deservedly. It took over an hour, though, for Pablo Hernandez with a shot from the edge of the box and then a Michu header to give them a 2-0 lead. But an acrobatic effort from Emerson Boyce has got Wigan back into it. And Aruna Kone headed what he thought was a leveller, but the flag went up. It was a very, very tight call. One for match of the day tonight. It's still Swansea 2, Wigan 1.
And the only goal from 3 o'clock kickoffs without a goal so far at Craven Cottage, Tony Husband.
We should have had one as well. Darren Bent recalled by Aston Villa today, but almost a bystander in this one. Gabby, he was put out of his misery a few minutes ago when he was substituted. Fulham have dictated play from the off, but they've been wasteful at times in front of goal. So somehow it is still goalless. Will Villa hold on for a good point in the circumstances? 0-0.
Well, the early kick-off today at lunchtime was at White.
Go forward and get you a goal. And even they're behind in the game, yet they still believe that they can win games from that position.
Look what it means to them. Yeah, they've done it before.
It's a big game.
It's a big game. They want it.
You know Tottenham is a big game to Chelsea, don't you?
That appetite is back at Stamford Bridge. You can sense it.
OK, we're going to go to the Championship, though. And Alan Biggs, a goal. Let me have a look. No, it's not there. City ground. Tell us.
Yes, Cardiff City have pulled one back, the Championship leaders, but they are 3-1 behind to Nottingham Forest. They have a corner at the moment which is cleared. Heider Helgeson hooking home from close range, giving a bit of hope, but signs here otherwise, I suggest, of another power shift in the Championship. Forest expensively restocked. They've been punching below their weight, but not today. A really clinical, controlled performance, not achieved by extreme pressure. Cardiff really contained from the start, then picked off. Andy Reid's exquisite free kick. Daniel Ayala's strong header in quick succession in the opening half. Then an excellent first goal from Billy Sharp after the break. But Helgeson has given hope for Cardiff. It's 3-1.
Turn up for the books. That result could be Cardiff, of course, started the day top. Not going so well for the top teams in the Championship today. But Ipswich looked like they were going to take a valuable win away from the KC. Naz Premji, the goal's been through the video printer. Hull have got the equaliser.
They certainly have. It's Hull City 1, Ipswich Town 1. Nick Proschwitz, the substitute after El Mohammadi's lovely cross. It's been coming, Gabby. They have dominated the Tigers from start to this point. 80 minutes in, Ipswich have been mere passengers in the game. They went through ahead by J. Emmanuel Thomas's first half strike. It's really their only purposeful effort on goal. They're holding on grimly. It's Hull City 1, Ipswich Town 1.
And there's been another goal at the Gold Sands Stadium. Andy Gillies, tell us all about it.
Well, it's now Bournemouth 3, Tranmere 1. So Tranmere's unbeaten record looks like it's going, and Eddie Howe is going to start off second time round at Bournemouth with a win. The goals, it was a Ben Gibson own goal, that equaliser from Bournemouth I told you about before. Then Harry Arter with a thunderous shot into the top right-hand corner. Even better, the third goal for Bournemouth. Matt Tubbs touching a free kick to Simon Francis, and a low shot gave the keeper absolutely no chance. Bournemouth 3, Tranmere 1.
And a goal for Ian Turner at Victoria Park.
And a goal for Ross County with 7 minutes left. He's only been in the field for a few minutes. Colin McMenamin, it was a long ball played in following a free kick in the Ross County half. The Hibs defence again failed to clear it. McMenamin was there and tucked it into the corner. What a great match this has been. Ross County 3, Hibs 2.
You may have got a little nod and a wink about this goal. Ivan Gaskell can confirm it for us, though, at the Hawthorns.
Yes, and as far as I can tell, that was Edin Dzeko's very first touch. He came on as a substitute literally a minute ago after waiting for what seemed like an age on the touchline. They eventually threw him on. In came the free kick, and it was an absolute bullet header. Foster came, got nowhere near it, and Dzeko, I believe with his first touch, crashed the header past Foster. It's 1-1, possibly about right, based on how much City have played and how well they played since they went down to 10 men. A shame for West Brom, but it's 1-1 here.
I'm sure he doesn't want to be super subbed, but, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a good career of it, didn't he, for Manchester United? His fifth time he scored coming on like that, obviously his first touch of the game today.
Yeah, I mean, when he first came to Man City, I remember him playing wide of a three, and everyone was saying, we've signed a lad for 28 million, and it's not working. At least now he's coming on. He's coming on up front anyway, at least. But he looks, as you say, they've got options, haven't they? All the teams that are, that we associate with the top have got options going forward.
Finally got a goal, Steve and Garth at Craven Cottage. Tony Husband.
It's the goal we expected. It's Fulham 1, Aston Villa 0. It's a lovely touch from the midfielder, Chris Baird, up for the corner. It went low, near post. He beat all the Villa defenders, and he got the deflection or the touch in. Nicely angled from Baird. Fulham lead 1-0.
It's a bad goal to give away for
Talk about the goal first before we talk about Villa's predicament at the moment.
So it's very difficult to talk about the goal because it affects Villa desperately. I mean, we know what's going on at Villa with Lambert and Bent. If they get nothing here, the pressure heaps on into him. And
good quality, though, the goal, isn't it?
I mean, he was a right back at Southampton. He was a defender, and they put him forward into a central midfielder. There was great movement in between it. Melee of players, and actually Berbatov has gone round, and he's peeled round Berbatov, gone to the near post, and it's a it's a corner that's been whipped in about knee height, and he gets across and just flicks it into the far post. So it's a good finish. It's a well-worked goal.
What an opportunity for Villa to equalise. Ball comes in from the right-hand side. Great chance. Oh, he should have buried it.
Is that bent?
No, it's not.
No.
Benteke,
yeah.
But it's a great opportunity.
Oh, well, not to be at the moment. It's still 1-0 at Craven Cottage. And let's just talk a little bit about United today.
Yep.
And, as you say, going forward, not a problem. The goals coming for Rooney.
Absolutely.
On the score sheet 3 times, ironically, because, of course, he got the OG as well, didn't he, for Stoke. But the Jolly Green Giants, as Alex Ferguson stoked it up and calling them, not matching up to them today.
I don't think they were going to go down with a whimper. We always knew they'd go and be a significant opponents. But Welbeck, Van Persie, Rooney, all on the score sheet going forward. They started slowly actually, and Stoke took the lead, but going forward they've been brilliant.
Got another goal at the Reebok. Is this the winner, James Mason?
It could be, Gabby. It's certainly completing the comeback. Martin Petrol has made it 3-2 for Bolton Wanderers. They were 2-0 down in the first half, but wave after wave of pressure, a 4-2-4 formation is bearing fruit. Bolton Wanderers now lead 3-2.
And if you were the man who maybe is being interviewed or talked to at the moment about becoming the boss at Bolton Wanderers, that's a good scoreline, isn't it, to be going
absolutely.
on?
And to come back, exactly, you're 2-0 down, and to come back like that shows a lot of character, a lot of spirit.
What do you think? Phil Brown's being talked about. Any names in the Premier League?
Do you know what? There's one or two. I mean, Blackburn and both Bolton. I'm not sure. There's lots of. They might go one end of the scale. They might go young and inexperienced, or they might go the other end. I don't think anybody quite knows with those.
OK, we've got another goal at Upton Park. Mark Webber, more misery for Southampton.
Oh, indeed, and it's come from a wonderful strike. Well worth watching on a replay, this one. Maiga getting the ball, comes in from halfway. He works from the halfway line himself and managed to get the ball, and he runs into the area. He's got 3 Southampton defenders around him, but he manages to get the ball onto his left foot, and he shoots it in. It's a tremendous strike. He's well taken it. He's held his own, and as a result, he's put West Ham 4, Southampton 1.
So 7th West Ham currently sit, the way things stand. You know, there were those that thought perhaps he was brought in to do a job, to get West Ham back into the Premier League, and and he's absolutely cemented himself there. What he's doing.
I personally think this is an easier job to keep them in this division and do OK than it was to get them out of the Championship. The Championship, he had a big budget, he had decent players, but he had pressure, and they played at times like they were under immense pressure. It was almost like a shadow, a cloud had been taken off the club when they got promoted. And I said at the time, start of the season, I said they would be my dark horses to do well in this league because they'll be able to enjoy it. I don't think they'll get relegated. I think there's far too many good players at that club. He's gone on from that with the players that he signed, and they look like they're enjoying their season so far.
And isn't the decision imminent about the new ground, potentially, the Olympic Stadium?
Well,
Steve mentioned...
Not a second guess that, do we?
Steve's mentioned signings. There's one signing that Sam Allardyce has made for West Ham that's been absolutely pivotal, Nolan. He took him out of the Championship, and he's been integral to everything they have done. It's been a fantastic signing.
And now he's been the magnet almost to get Andy Carroll there as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, but him, with or without Carroll, Nolan's been superb.
OK, let's go to the City Ground. A red card, Alan Biggs. Who's it gone to?
And it's a sending off for Nottingham Forest, which has meant we faced an interesting last few minutes here. Nottingham Forest 3, Cardiff 1, but they're down to 10 men. Adeline Guediora has been dismissed for a second yellow card, his second for a foul challenge. But the real talking point, if this prompts a Cardiff comeback, will be the first, because that was highly questionable in my view. Guediora was booked earlier for diving, much to the displeasure on the touchline of the Forest manager Sean O'Driscoll. Cardiff are pressing strongly now, but they are 3-1 down.
OK, the closing minutes of these Premier League games this afternoon. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell, one apiece. Is there going to be a winner?
It's really tense here. It's such a great game now. It's really opened up. It's 10-man Manchester City seeing if they can hold on to the point now, because West Brom are really putting them under pressure. Oh, the ball flies across the face of the City goal. Odom Wingy's low cross. And a despairing Lukaku couldn't quite get anything on it. Everybody's on. The substitution had been made, 6 of them, 3 each. Lukaku, Gira, Odom Wingy on for West Brom, and Kolarov, Dzeko and Aguero on for City. It's last knockings, but it's great stuff. It's 1-1.
And to Old Trafford, Damian Johnson. The door's not open for Stoke, is it? Are Man United going to extend their lead further?
I don't think so. I think the game's petering out slightly. We've got a minute and a bit left on the clock. Stoke gamely sticking at it. Michael Owen on as a second-half substitute for one of their goal scorers, Michael Kitely, against his former club, of course. Nearly poached a goal for Stoke City at the near post. It was headed over, heading in actually at the time, but headed over by Van Persie back to help his defence. I think United fairly safe as the clock ticks. They lead 4-2.
OK, let's go to Andrew James at Pride Park. A goal.
Derby County have got a very late equaliser here, Gabby, against Blackburn Rovers. They were leading 1-0 from Jordan Rhodes. It looked like it was going to be Eric Black's first win in charge of Blackburn Rovers, but Theo Robinson got a shot in on goal. It was blocked by Paul Robinson, but then from the tightest of angles, Theo Robinson drove it back in, off the goalkeeper's chest and into the back of the goal. One apiece and Derby deserve it.
So it's still 1-0 at Anfield. Richard Askham.
Yes, Liverpool, though, living on their nerves here, Gabby. Reading have had a couple of opportunities. The last one, Gareth McCleary crossing. Kasper's Gorks nearly getting on the end of it as Luis Suarez is fouled, and the Anfield faithful applaud the decision. But yes, Liverpool living dangerously, Gabby. We're into stoppage time now. It remains, though, Liverpool 1, Reading 0.
Looking for that first home win of the season. I guess the tension, Garth, you know, there, knowing it's so close, and it was huge relief, wasn't it, just to get those 3 points for Brendan Rodgers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's been under enormous pressure, and he needs that. He needs that result. Sterling, outstanding first half for me. But just a moment to go into the... Can I just go back to the Hawthorn just for a second? Because it's Simon Gaskell's absolutely right. It's a fantastic game. City almost went 2-1 up. Practically off the line. West Brom go back up the other end. They're pressing like you can't believe. But City, remember, are down to 10 men, and I think they should have had a penalty in this game. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was 0-0 or 1-0, but they should have definitely had a penalty. You'll see it on Match of the Day tonight. I think there's a foot in the penalty. Steve thinks differently, but it's a big moment.
It's a foot in the penalty. Don't get me wrong, when he comes down, but whether or not he handles it outside the box, it's 7-8 feet up in the air. It's very, very difficult.
The City players go crazy. They're appealing. Of course they would. But you know, it looks to me.
It's difficult to tell. It's a close call, mate.
It'll be analysed, I'm sure,
yes,
to the max on Match of the Day tonight. Let's go to the Liberty Stadium. It's 2-1. Any signs of an equaliser from Wigan, Hamish Marshall?
Yeah, Wigan have been having their best spell of this match, and Swansea are hanging on just a little bit. They came from 2-0 down here to draw 2 weeks ago. The boots very much on the other foot this afternoon. They are, though, having breakaways as Wigan push forward. Michu was through a moment ago, but his shot was off target. We've played 2 minutes of the 4 of stoppage time. It's still Swansea 2, Wigan 1.
It's looking like an emphatic win for Sam's men at Upton Park. Mark Webber.
Absolutely, just playing for time now, Sam's men. They are 4-1 up. Gary O'Neill, the sub, and Mark Noble having a little bit of a kick around in front of me, and no real rush to lob the ball in to see if number 5 would come off, but the header was just wide there by Nolan. It really is a comprehensive performance by West Ham, and however much we talk about what Southampton are doing and the problems they've got, we can't take away from what West Ham have achieved in getting these goals today. 4-1.
And if things stay as they are, Fulham will end the day in 8th position if they get this victory at Craven Cottage. Are they going to, Tony Husband?
Well, they should do. It's a pretty emphatic 1-0 lead for them. Just 60 seconds left of injury time at the end of the 90. It's Chris Baird's late goal which separates the sides, although Villa had their best chance of the game within a minute of Baird's strike when the substitute Christian Benteke shot wide. He really should have done better. Brett Holman had an effort which was deflected over a few moments ago as Villa desperately try to get themselves an equaliser. But time running out now, and Fulham leading by a goal to 0.
Thanks, Tony. It's full time at Victoria Park. Ian Turner.
A goal 7 minutes from time from substitute Colin McMenamin silenced the large travelling supporter and has given Ross County their first league win of the season. 2-2 at half-time, Griffiths with a 7th of the season and McPake netting for Hibs, and in between those Kettlewell and Vigers for the home side, who eventually settled matters with McMenamin's fine late strike. It finished Ross County 3, Hibernian 2.
Let's go to St Andrews. Steve Lee, is this a late equaliser?
Yes, there is. Birmingham 1, Leicester 1. Substitute Ben Marshall with a smashing shot from about 25 yards. It hit the post and then bounced into the net with Butland beating. It's no more than they deserved after Löwenkrantz had given Birmingham an unexpected and really not well-deserved lead. 1-1 here at St Andrews.
It's gone through already, but tell us about it. Steve May, the goal there.
Yeah, it's a goal for Watford. It's now Watford 1, Peterborough United 0 in the closing stage of this match. The substitute Matej Vydra
all he's really had to do in this game so far. A penalty straight down the middle has at last beaten Bobby Olejnik, and it's no more than Watford deserve, because they've seen a shot cleared off the line. The ball has also hit the post, and Olejnik has been in brilliant form. But now it seems that justice has been done, and it's Watford 1, Peterborough 0.
Well, it's been a great game for 90 minutes, Ivan Gaskell, but what an ending at the Hawthorns.
Unbelievable stuff, one end to the other. I have to first tell you about the one that got away. Lukaku came on as a sub, a dramatic bicycle kick that Hart did really well to save, tipped it over the bar. It could have won the match for West Brom. A minute later, City broke down, all the way down from one end to the other. Aguero stole in, slipped it across, and there was the super sub, Dzeko, to steer the ball past Foster. The celebrations were wild, and City have nicked it.
It's all over at Old Trafford. Damien Johnson can report.
Yeah, it is.
Win for... And it's all over at Upton Park, and very much a day for blowing bubbles, Mark Webber.
Yes, indeed, the bubbles are flying high, but if a Solent boathouse had a ship as leaky as Southampton, they'd start to worry by now. 2 moments of defensive madness opened the floodgates. Mark Noble managed to bobble a free kick in. Minutes later, Southampton had 2 defenders bobbling like boys in choppy waters as Benayoun's cross curled behind them and onward to Nolan for a tap-in. Lallana's shot was stylish and opened the account for Saints, but when Jose Fonte tugged at Andy Carroll's ponytail in the penalty box, Noble scored the resultant penalty. Submadiva Maega had a fine left-footed shot to score West Ham's 4th. A statement of intent for the Hammers. No more boring football here under Sam. Cause for concern for Southampton. West Ham United 4, Southampton 1.
And it's all over at the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell, what an afternoon you've had there.
Well, if Premier League football is like this every week, I want some more. What a game, what a finish. West Brom very nearly snatched an equaliser right in the 4.5 minute of added time. They didn't, it stayed out, and Manchester City, 10-man Manchester City, have denied them a win here that for quite some time looked to be in the bag. Shane Long, 67 minutes, sneaking in, stealing in and nicking in to get West Brom's first goal. City down to 10 men through midway in the first half when Milner was sent off. Through on Dzeko. Dzeko's first touch was a bullet header past Foster, and very nearly his final touch was a terrific sweeping drive that won the game for City. What a match. City win it.
Really intriguing encounter. I implore you to watch Match of the Day to see the edit of that tonight. Just hold your horses there, Garth, because we're going to get the full-time report from the Liberty Stadium. Hamish Marshall, important win for Michael Laudrup.
Yes, it was. Swansea have beaten Wigan 2-1, and it's a first win for his Swansea side since August. Deserved, but it was much closer than it ought to have been. 2 quick goals with a Spanish flavour, courtesy of Pablo Hernandez and Michu. Should have had them on easy street, but as Garth said, Wigan can be frustrating. It took them being behind to get into the game. In fact, they didn't win a corner until the 78th minute. Emerson Boyce made it 2-1, and Coney headed what he thought was the equaliser, but the flag went up. So while Swansea get out of their poor run, Roberto Martinez's side remain deep in theirs.
And Craven Cottage, Tony Husband, a good home win in the end.
Patience paying off for Fulham, who dominated long periods here but had to wait until the last 5 minutes to take the points. Chris Baird beat everyone to the near post and turned a John Arnorisa corner past Brad Guzan, who'd earlier kept the likes of Dimitar Berbatov out. Villa recalled record signing Darren Bent today. He was barely involved. His replacement Christian Benteke spurned their best chance, shooting wide with the goal gaping straight after Baird's goal. For Paul Lambert, it looks like being a long winter. Martignol's men got what they deserved today, but it should have been more straightforward. Fulham 1, Aston Villa 0.
A late winner at the KC Stadium. Naz Premji.
Finished here, Gabby. Hull City 2, Ipswich Town 1. Steve Bruce's super sub. Nick Proshwitz scored twice for the home side in a game they dominated. It was Ahmed El Mohammadi providing the crosses on both occasions. Earlier, Ipswich had taken an undeserved lead through J. Emmanuel Thomas, but in the second period, justice was done and deserved. It's a deserved win for Steve Bruce's side. The pressure mounts now on Paul Jewell. It's finished Hull City 2, Ipswich Town 1.
Let's go to the City Ground. Alan Biggs, not a good day for the league leaders.
No, they've crashed. Cardiff losing 3-1 here at Nottingham Forest. There were a few late scares for the Forest faithful in a 24,000 crowd. There was Heide Helgeson hooking in for the leaders rather belatedly, and then Forest's Guediora sent off, after which Tommy Smith hit the post and Lee Camp was very busy in the home goal. But Forest well worth the win for the clinical way they opened a 3-0 lead. There was that trademark free kick, first of all, from Andy Reid, an exquisite effort that. Then Ayala's powerful header, and Billy Sharp scampering away in typical fashion for the third. His first for Forest, who've won by 3-1.
And let's go to the Reebok Stadium. James Mason, they might have a manager, but they seem to have plenty of spirit and fight back there.
I think you're spot on there, Gabby. Bolton Wanderers 3, Bristol City 2. Managerless Bolton looked rudderless at times in the first half as two quick-fire goals from Stephen Davies put Bristol City in complete control. But a Chris Eagles free kick gave the home fans a glimpse of things to come before an attacking change in formation from caretaker boss Jimmy Phillips. 4-2-4 he changed it in the second half. Led firstly to Jay Spearing's equaliser before Martin Petrov's late winner. The Bulgarians, first of the season, coolly controlling the ball before side-footing past Tom Heaton. It finished Bolton Wanderers 3, Bristol City 2.
OK, well, if you want your say on the day's football action, tune in to BBC Radio 5 Live for 6:06. You'll find Mark Chapman and Robbie Savage at the helm at 6:06 this evening. And, of course, every Saturday we're here from 2:30 via the BBC Sport website, the Red Button or the HD channel. Yes, you can find us that early. Lots goes on. If you miss it, you miss out, trust me. And then, of course, we come to BBC One during the afternoon. But now, here are the full classified football results with Jason Mohammad.
Barclays Premier League, Fulham 1, Aston Villa 0. Liverpool 1, Reading 0. Manchester United 4, Stoke City 2. Norwich City Arsenal, evening kickoff. Swansea City 2, Wigan Athletic 1. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Chelsea 4. West Bromwich Albion 1, Manchester City 2. West Ham United 4, Southampton 1. N-Power Championship, Birmingham City 1, Leicester City 1. That's the latest score. Bolton Wanderers 3, Bristol City 2. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Middlesbrough 1. Burnley Blackpool, evening kickoff. Charlton Athletic 0, Barnsley 1. Crystal Palace 2, Millwall 2. Derby County 1, Blackburn Rovers 1. Huddersfield Town 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Hull City 2, Ipswich Town 1. Nottingham Forest 3, Cardiff City 1. Watford 1, Peterborough United 0. N-Power League 1, AFC Bournemouth 3, Tranmere Rovers 1. Colchester United 2, Carlisle United 0. Coventry City 1, Notts County 2. Doncaster Rovers 2, Brentford 1. Hartlepool United 0, Crawley Town 1. Milton Keynes Dons 0, Stevenage 1. Oldham Athletic 2, Leyton Orient 0. Portsmouth 3, Shrewsbury Town 1. Preston North End 0, Sheffield United 1. Swindon Town 1, Scunthorpe United 1. Walsall 2, Crewe Alexandra 2. Yeovil Town 2, Bury 1. N-Power League 2, Aldershot Town 0, Rotherham United 3. Bradford City 3, Cheltenham Town 1. Bristol Rovers 3, Torquay United 2. Exeter City 0, Chesterfield 1. Fleetwood Town 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. Gillingham 4, Burton Albion 1. Morecambe 1, Southend United 0. Oxford United 5, Accrington Stanley 0. Plymouth Argyle 3, Rochdale 1. Port Vale 4, Wycombe Wanderers 1. York City 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 2. Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 1. That is a latest score. Ross County 3, Hibernian 2. St Johnstone 2, Kilmarnock 1. St Mirren 0, Celtic 5. Iron Brew Scottish Division 1, Cowdenbeath 4, Wraith Rovers 4. Dunbarton 0, Falkirk 2. Dunfermline 2, Greenock Morton 2. That is the latest score. Hamilton Academical 1, Livingston 2. Partick Thistle 7, Airdrie United 0. Iron Brew Scottish Division 2, Albion Rovers 4, Arbroath 0. Alloa Athletic 1, Ayr United 0. Brechin City 3, Stranraer 0. East Fife 3, Forfar Athletic 0. Queen of the South 2, Stenhousemuir 2. Iron Brew Scottish Division 3, Berwick Rangers 2, Clyde 1. East Stirlingshire 2, Peterhead 1. Elgin City 2, and an Athletic 2. Rangers 2, Queen's Park 0. Stirling Albion 1, Montrose 3. Corbett Sports Welsh Premier, Newtown 1, Carmarthen Town 0. Port Talbot Town 1, Bangor City 1. Danske Bank Irish Premiership, Ballina Millard 0, Crusaders 2. Cliftonville 4, Dungannon Swifts 1. Glentoran 2, Glenavon 1. Lisbon Distillery 0, Ballymena United 4. Portadown 1, Donegal Celtic 0.
And some late kickoffs to tell you about. Birmingham City 1, Leicester City 1 in the Championship. In the Scottish Premier League, latest score is Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 1. And in the Iron Brew Scottish Division 1 match between Dunfermline and Greenock Morton, it's 2 apiece. Let's have a look at the tables then. The Premier League first, and Chelsea remain 4 points clear at the top. The Blues' next league game is against Manchester United, who kept pace with victory against Stoke today. Manchester City stay third after that dramatic comeback at the Hawthorns, and West Ham go level on points with West Brom following their win today. At the bottom, no change, although QPR and Norwich have yet to play. Southampton suffered their 6th defeat in 8 games, but they remain just above the relegation zone because Reading lost. And at the Championship, Leicester have edged into top spot in the Championship table thanks to that late equaliser at Birmingham. Overnight leaders Cardiff drop into second with their defeat at the City Ground. Huddersfield was 7th, but then up to 3rd after beating Wolves at home. At the bottom, Peterborough still prop up the pile. Both they and Ipswich lost today. 3rd from bottom, Sheffield Wednesday are above them on 9 points, and Birmingham move up to 19th thanks to that draw with Leicester. And to League One, leaders Tranmere finally surrendered their unbeaten record, losing 3-1 at Bournemouth. That second-place Stevenage took advantage, beating near neighbours MK Dons 1-0, cutting the gap at the top to 4 points. Sheffield United, Crawley and Notts County also won, while Swindon remain in a playoff spot despite dropping points. At the bottom, Bury and Hartlepool both lost, while Scunthorpe remain in the relegation zone despite picking up a useful point at Swindon. Bournemouth's shock victory lifts the Cherries clear of danger and means Coventry drop into the bottom 4. To League Two, no big changes at the top. Gillingham grabbed another 3 points today. They remain clear, while second place Port Vale came from behind to thrash Wycombe at home. Those two remain well away from the rest of the chasing pack. At the bottom, Edgar Davids-inspired Barnet got their first win of the season last night, but they remain rooted to the bottom, 2 points adrift of Aldershot. Bristol Rovers got a much-needed win to give themselves some breathing space above the lowest teams in the table. And to the SPL, Celtic remain top. That 5-0 win at St Mirren may or may not have been good preparation for a trip to the new camp to play Barcelona on Tuesday. We'll see. St Johnstone are up from 5th to 2nd after beating Kilmarnock at home. And of course, Aberdeen and Dundee United, of course, still in action. And Dundee are rock bottom, cut adrift as well. They lost 4-1 at home to Inverness last night. Ross County rose up the table after a great win over Hibs, who started the day in 2nd. OK, I think we should get some more reaction from the Hawthorns. John Motson has been there for Match of the Day. And if I was a betting girl, Motty, this might be top of the pile on Match of the Day tonight. What a game you had. It had everything, didn't it? 10-man City staging a comeback and Balotelli having a strop. Was there anything missing?
Well, not really, although the West Brom fans would say what was really missing was an equaliser, because believe me, that was the most amazing last 5 or 10 minutes I think I've ever seen in the Premier League, certainly up there with it anyway. Dzeko came on, as you say, as a substitute and scored these 2 goals for City, so it went from 1-0 to Albion, and that unbeaten home record, of course, is now gone, and City's unbeaten record is still there thanks to the substitute. But even then, you'll look at when you see it tonight, Lukaku came on as a substitute for West Bromwich Albion, and in the same period of the game, he could have had a hat-trick. It really was end-to-end. And people often say to me, what's so special about the Premier League nowadays as against in the past or the old Division 1? The answer is, Gabby, teams just don't settle for anything anymore. They were both giving it all they'd got right up to the 94th minute. It was gripping.
Monty, City had a good penalty shout, the boys thought.
Yeah, I think that one needs looking at again. Was that the handball when the ball was up in the air and Fortuné hand? Yeah, it was right. It was difficult to see because the ball was in the air, but Mark Clattenburg decided it was just outside the area. He had a busy afternoon, the referee, because, of course, we haven't mentioned that City played 3/4 of this match with 10 men. James Milner sent off when he brought down Shane Long, who was clean through. I think it was a red card. And so the champions really had to show a bit of character, quite apart from anything else. But Dzeko, when you bring a man like that off the bench, and and supplement the attack, then it can turn a game, and that's exactly what happened.
He's done it 5 times already this season. He's pretty useful at that.
Absolutely, and I mean that is the great strength, of course, of this City squad, isn't it? I mean they've got a busy week coming up. They're playing Ajax in the Champions League. They'll need to get something there on Wednesday, so this will have put them in good heart, because however good you may be, and even if you're defending the Championship, you still need character, and they showed bags of that. But at the same time, West Brom did play well in parts, and you mustn't believe for one moment that this is the end of the improvement and the start they've made under Steve Clarke.
Marty, thank you very much. Speak to you very soon, I hope. Thank you. What does it tell us about City and where they are? We said that perhaps the win against Sunderland ahead of this match, we thought maybe that was them clicking through the gears a little bit.
Correct.
And today, when their backs were up against the wall and they had to galvanise and go down to 10 men and find something, they did it.
Well, both Manchester City and Chelsea, you see the euphoria when they clinch the game. They've got this taste again for victory. City, for me, against 10 men, they're down to 10 men. They start having a go. You were quizzing Steve and I about how to play. You got 10 men, how to play them, stretch them, and be prepared to go. Now, the 2 substitutions, Aguero and Deco, well, they changed the game. Balotelli's having a strop for the best part of the game. He goes. These 2 come on. And the second goal, the win, is fantastic. And by the way, Hart makes a great save at a crucial moment in the game.
Exactly the opposite to last week, which will please Mancini. They really had to grind this game out. That is the type of games that you win premierships on, that sort of performance.
Definitely.
What you've got to say about the top 3 is they were all behind today at one stage, the top 3, and they've all come back. They've shown, you said character, I think maybe that's the word of the day for those 3 teams. They've shown the character to come back from losing positions and win these games comfortably.
Character might be the word of the day, but match of the day is what you need to watch later on to see the highlights of what has really been a tremendous weekend so far in the Premier League. Harry Redknapp's joining Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer for that at 10:30 on BBC One and BBC One HD. Mr. Shearer's doing the double shift this weekend. He'll join Colin and Mick McCarthy for Match of the Day 2 tomorrow, including the Tyne Weir Derby. Philatelist, I asked you earlier on what it was. Do you know? And QPR Everton, 10:25 BBC One. It's relevant because Stephen Taylor said he'd rather be a philatelist, a stamp collector that is, than play for Sunderland. It's relevant, you see, to the Tyne Weir Derby, Garth. Those eyes. And before all of that, there's a special Match of the Day live. We've got live football for you. England's women against France. Can they pick up from that fantastic, well, they already have them, haven't they? That fantastic euphoria of the Olympics and keep it going. At 7:30 over on BBC 3. OK, let's hear now from Sir Alex Ferguson, his reaction, talking to Damien Johnson, that 4-2 win over Stoke, of course.
2 goals for Wayne Rooney. What will that do for his confidence, his first of the season for United?
It's excellent, that. I mean, it was always going to come, of course. He'd had his injury, of course. And in more games as he gets, he's going to get better.
And Danny Welbeck off the mark as well.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that too. Danny has got a goal in him, there's no question about that. Missed one in the first half, missed one in the second half, but I'll take a goal from every game.
It's exciting, the prospect of the 3 of them together up front. I mean, how do you see that working?
Well, I think that there's all depends on the movement of the players, and I think that they're that flexible roles today that, for instance, Van Persie's first goal in the outside left position, fantastic cross, and and Wayne scored. And if we get that kind of movement, we will be a handful for teams.
Can I ask you about Rio Ferdinand? He decided not to wear the kick it out T-shirt before the game. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm disappointed because at the press conference yesterday, I said to the press, and it's embarrassing for me, but you'll be dealt with. Don't worry about that.
Sounds serious. We'll talk about that in a moment. Simon Brotherton's there for Match of the Day. Perhaps we should address that first. Are you surprised to hear him say that, Simon?
Well, not really, because he basically had said yesterday that he didn't agree with Jason Roberts, and that all the Manchester United players would be wearing those T-shirts. So we did raise an eyebrow when Rio Ferdinand came out not wearing one. I wasn't entirely surprised that Rio took the stance that he did, because there had been hints that might happen. But I'm not surprised that the manager's not very happy about it. It sounds like Rio's a bit in the doghouse, doesn't it?
Simon, on the match itself, no problem clearly with United going forward today, and I'm sure Sir Alex Ferguson will be delighted to see Wayne Rooney getting off the mark and linking so well Robin van Persie. But let's talk about where things aren't going so well at the back.
Yes, and it was mentioned in the interview, as you say, going forward, particularly with Welbeck, Van Persie and Rooney, constantly interchanging, sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right, through the middle. That was really, really exciting, and that really made the difference. They had the firepower to beat Stoke City, and they might have had another couple of goals. But what I would say is, for the first 25 minutes of the game, I thought Stoke were by far the better team. They played some good football. They went ahead with a goal which, David De Gea didn't really come out of with any glory, because as the ball was played into the penalty area from the corner, De Gea stayed right on his line. He didn't move an inch, and the ball was only 2 yards out. Rooney was moving in. He'd got Shawcross right with him, and the ball just hit Rooney on the head and bounced into the back of the net. But the goalkeeper didn't take full advantage of the situation there, or control of the situation, I should say. United looked a little unsure at times at the back, with the second goal as well, Gabby, in particular, when Kitely ran through. He got a bit of a lucky bobble off Rio Ferdinand, but he just hustled and bustled his way through the middle of the Manchester United defence, which at the time wasn't very well protected at all by central midfield. So the game really changed either side of half-time, with goals from Van Persie and Rooney. From 1-1, it suddenly became 3-1. United were coasting. Stoke got a goal back, and then it went to 4-2. But Manchester United really, I think, it reminded me of the match against Everton towards the back end of last season, when there were 2 goals up near the end. They were coasting, and then suddenly Everton came back 3-1 to 3-2. I just wondered whether we were in the same situation, but in the end we weren't, and United won with room to spare, but they didn't look watertight at the back.
Thank you. They'll be tested, no doubt, next week at Stamford Bridge. That's a big matchup because, of course, they're 4 points behind Chelsea at the top of the table. Garth, I want to talk to you about, and I know you want to talk with your Kick It Out T-shirt on underneath your shirt today. You want to talk about what Sir Alex Ferguson said there, because he sounded like he's seriously annoyed with Rio Ferdinand. He's not the only player today who didn't wear the T-shirt. Jolien Lescott and Jason Roberts, who announced that he wouldn't be wearing it yesterday.
Look, everybody at Kick It Out will be very, very grateful for Alex Ferguson leading from the front and trying to move the whole campaign forward. He wants us all to stick together as a football family on something we all feel very passionate about. I just hope he takes a little bit of perspective about this. Rio is entitled to his view. I know Alex wants a team spirit and to be together. He's gone through 12 months with his brother of a lot of hurt and pain, and he's melted his face. And I think, if he doesn't want it to wear the shirt,
I think what his problem is, the indication was that he would wear it yesterday when he went to the news conference. That's what he's inferring. Yeah. And then he's saying that Rio, off his own back, has changed his mind. I think that's
he's made the manager look a little foolish.
It's his. You've got to respect his decision.
Let's remember his background. He's a union man who led, workforces out on strikes, and he probably assumed.
I hopes Alex makes his point in the dressing room and leaves it at that.
OK, well, I'm sure that's not the end of it. Let's move on to Anfield, though. Brendan Rodgers got his first home win as Liverpool manager today, courtesy of Raheem Sterling. Let's hear his reaction.
First Premier League home win for you at Anfield. How does that feel?
Well, it's brilliant for the players. I thought they thoroughly deserved it. It was you come off the back of an international week, and it's never easy with the players all being away. But I thought, in particular, the first half we were excellent. Our control and domination of the game was very good. Second half we started well, and obviously then towards probably the last 20 minutes, just probably needed to manage the game a wee bit better or manage the ball better. But apart from that, it's another clean sheet. which is great. We had 19 shots, 7 on target. Probably should have scored 1 or 2 more, but that was a good performance.
Let's talk about Brendan Rodgers' first win, achieved through a mercurial talent, potentially, a player who's been watched the last couple of years. We've known he's come, he's been bubbling under, had a little trial against, well, came out against with Kenny Dalglish under his reign, rather, and now being given opportunities almost week in, week out.
Bloody with Brendan Rodgers. I didn't care for his haircut, but there we are. That must be me.
Apparently he really cares as well what you think of his hair.
Yes, indeed. But I tell you what, I really care about his talent, and that's the most important thing. A big relief for Brendan Rodgers. It's not easy when you're playing against your old club. Sometimes you want it too much and you can lose your balance and a bit of perspective. But it was a good performance by Liverpool, I thought. And Sterling is improving with every game, I'd say, Steve.
He looks a mercurial talent, doesn't he? There's no doubt about it. He really does look like somebody who can open the door for Liverpool. I wasn't overly enamoured with the performance. It was nervous at the end. You know, Reading came back into that game. You could tell that they hadn't won a game at home, Liverpool. They've got it out. They've got that monkey off their back, and hopefully now they can go on to better things.
Absolutely.
OK, building for the future, you suspect. And, of course, redeveloping the ground they've announced this week. And as well as Match of the Day tonight, afterwards, Manish will bring you all the goals from the Football League. And there are plenty of drama at the top of the Championship and the rest of the Football League divisions, of course. And more football for you this weekend as well. Tomorrow afternoon over on 5 Live, commentary of QPR Everton from 4. And, of course, there's live football tonight as well, if you want, on BBC 3, England's women in action against France. But that's it from us here on BBC 1. Thank you to Garth and Steve for enlightening us. Just for the moment, they've got more work to do. We're going on to the red button. You can come too. If not, we'll see you next time. Bye.